Good evening, this is GCN English News Edition and you're watching with me, Ning Hoi Kim Kongsai. First, the headlines. Kuki groups demand action against CRPF. Bodies of 10 Kuki village volunteers brought to Trilateral. Autopsy reveals Mar women killed in Manipur's Ziribam district was subjected to third-degree torture. News in detail. Hundreds of Kuki people staged a protest in Kuki-dominated districts in conflict-torn Manipur on Friday, demanding a judicial inquiry into the killing of 10 armed persons by CRPF personnel in Ziribam district on November 7. The Kuki Women Organizations for Human Rights based at Trilateral organized the protest, which was also staged in two other Kuki-dominated districts, Gangpokpi and Tingnopal. The protesters, most wearing black, shouted slogans such as "We want justice," "CRPF go back," and "Respect human rights." The protesters say that they demand legal action against the CRPF as the 10 village volunteers were killed despite the Kuki organizations not confronting the central forces since the violence broke out in Manipur in May last year. Manipur police said the 10 armed militants were gunned down in retaliatory actions after they allegedly attacked a CRPF camp and a police stations in Zakurador and Borobakra in Ziribam district. Police said sophisticated weapons were seized from them. The protesters also demanded action against the killing of a women teacher allegedly by the Mayday armed persons. The Kuki people have harbored a deep-seated distrust towards the CRPF when it comes to maintaining peace and sanctity in the buffer zone. Unlike the Assam Rifles, who have earned the trust of the community through their actions and commitments, the CRPF has consistently failed to instill confidence among the Kuki people. The organization said in a memorandum addressed to Union Home Minister Amit Shah. The recent mass killing involving the CRPF is a grave violation of human rights, it said. The organizations also wrote to National Human Rights Commission seeking its intervention. Fresh tensions have gripped Ziribam since November 7, when the 31-year-old Kuki women teacher was allegedly raped and burned alive by suspected Mayday insurgents. Manipur has remained rolled in the Mayday Kuki conflict since May last year, in which nearly 240 people have been killed and over 60,000 others displaced. Sporadic incidents of violence have continued despite the presence of a large number of security forces, including the army. The bodies of 10 village volunteers who were killed by CRPF in Manipur Ziribam district in November 11 have been handed over to Kuki-Zau people. As per sources, the bodies has reached Tapai in Trilateral through helicopter from a Simpur military base, following which they were reportedly received with dignity. Situation turned violent after members of Mar and Kuki communities clashed with police outside the Silchar Medical College and Hospital morgue in Silchar, demanding the transport of 10 militant bodies for postmortem. Mention may be made that on November 11, a group of village volunteers were cold-bloodedly killed in Borobakra area by the CRPF who are stationed there. The incident occurred on November 11, 2024, shortly after the tragic death of Zausangkim Mar, a young mother of 3, who was brutally raped and murdered, along with the burning of 17 houses in Zairon village by Mayday militants and Arambay Tingal. The assault occurred despite the presence of CRPF personnel in the village. According to Kukis in P. Ziribam, Tamenglong, and Nonay, KIZTN, the Mar Kuki village volunteers, upon learning that the perpetrators of the Zairon incident were reportedly sheltered at Zakurador police stations by Manipur police commandos and CRPF, approached the CRPF personnel. They requested that Mayday militants be handed over, assuring that they meant no harm to Central Security Forces. However, the volunteers were allegedly fired upon indiscriminately while relaxing after the discussion, resulting in the loss of several lives. The Kuki MP has strongly condemned the incident, requesting why Zairam village was allowed to be attacked under the watch of CRPF, while the same forces turned their guns onto the Mar volunteers. The CRPF must take moral responsibility for the failure to protect Zosangkim and Zairam village and for the cold-blooded murder of village volunteers, the Kuki MP stated in a press release. In light of the incident, the Kuki MP has called for a thorough investigations by a central investigating agency and demanded the immediate withdrawal of CRPF forces from the Kuki village of Ziribam, citing growing insecurity among the villagers. Additionally, the Kuki MP has called for a removal of Mayday militants, particularly the band UNLF, from the region, accusing them of being sheltered under the guise of peace talks with the central government. The autopsy report of 31-year-old tribal woman who was killed in Manipur's violence-hit Ziribam district on November 7 revealed that she was subjected to third-degree torture and suffered 99% burns. The report of the autopsy, which was carried out at Silchar Medical College and Hospital in Assam on November 9, also said several body parts and limbs were missing and viscera for chemical analysis could not be collected as most were charred and unrecognizable. It also added that the brain tissue was found wrapped in a plastic tissue that was liquefied and decomposed. The body of the woman, a mother of three, was found at her home at Zairam village following an attack by a group of armed militants on November 7. Death was due to shock as a result of third-degree mixed flame antemortem burns as described, which covered 99% of total body surface area, the report stated, as the cause of her death. According to report, the hospital received a completely charred body along with burned bone fragments devoid of healthy soft tissues, right upper limb and parts of both lower limbs, and the facial structure found missing, is stated. The report further said that vaginal smear for microscopic analysis could not be taken as body parts were completely charred and not recognizable. Viscera for chemical analysis could not be collected as most were charred and unrecognizable or missing. Burned and separate fragments of bone did not show any signs of vital reaction, indicating the post-mortem nature of separation, it added. The body was also found with deep penetrating wounds and a metallic nail was found embedded in the left thigh, highlighting the unimaginable conditions of the body and torture meted out on her, the report said. Burned and separated fragments of bone did not show any signs of vital reaction, indicating the post-mortem nature of separation. More than 220 people have been killed and thousands rendered homeless in ethnic violence in the northeastern states since May last year. Ethnically diverse Ziribam, which was largely untouched by the clashes in Imphal Valley and the adjoining hills, witnessed violence after the mutilated body of a farmer was found in a field in June this year. Maydays account for about 53% of Manipur's population and live mostly in the Imphal Valley. Tribals, Nagas, and Kukis constitute little over 40% and reside in the hill districts. Meanwhile, Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum ITLF has said the bodies of the 10 men allegedly gunned down by CRPF must be brought to Chorichampur by road to Mizoram from Silchar, where the bodies are kept for post-mortem. In a statement, ITLF said following extensive decision, it was decided that the 10 martyrs must be transported by road to Mizoram and then to Lamka Chorichampur by Tipaimuk Road once the post-mortem are conducted. Other modes of transportation will not be accepted. The statement is signed by 10 different bodies including Mizo People's Convention, Kuki Impeacher Champur, Mar Inpui. In a significant legal and political development, the Supreme Court has agreed to examine audio recordings that allegedly implicate Manipur Chief Minister Biren Singh in the violent ethnic conflict between the Meitei and Kuki communities that erupted in the northeastern state in May last year. The decision marks a crucial step in the court's oversight of one of India's most volatile state crises, where months of unrest have left more than 230 people dead, some 60,000 displaced, and communities sharply polarized. Sporadic incidents of violence being reported from rural pockets still threaten peace. The case brought by Kuki Organizations for Human Rights Trust has as its basis recordings from a purported closed-door meeting in which Singh can be allegedly heard admitting to supporting the sectarian violence, encouraging the looting of arms, and providing protection to those involved in militant activities. The court's probe into these steps could have profound implications not only for the political landscape of Manipur but also for the broader questions of accountability in public office. The audio recordings first surfaced in mid-2024, igniting a firestorm that only grew as the clips circulated on social media and in news reports. Their purported origins date back to meeting at the Chief Minister's official residence, reportedly held in the later part of 2023. The whistleblower, whose identity remains protected for security reasons, claimed to have recorded through the alleged conversation on a mobile phone without Singh's knowledge. The tapes, which run for over 48 minutes, allegedly captured Biren Singh discussing plans for protecting those involved in the violence and even boasting of defying Union Home Minister Amit Shah's orders to avoid excessive force. Let them use bombs covertly, not openly, the voice in the tape success, dismissing such a directive as naive. The recordings go on to detail how Singh allegedly sealed that those who had looted thousands of weapons from state arsenals, even refusing to arrest them as he felt their actions aligned with his broader political strategy. India Today, which has access to these tapes, was unable to independently confirm their authenticity. In July, the Kuki body handed over the sensational audio files to Justice Ajay Lamba Commission, established by Union Ministry of Home Affairs MSA last June to examine the factors behind the violence. Despite the gravity of the recording, the KOHRT alleged the Commission took no action to verify or investigate their contents for months. This delay has led the petitioners to question the impartiality of the government investigations, ultimately prompting them to approach the Supreme Court for a court-monitored probe by a Special Investigation Team, SIT. Represented by human rights advocate Prasan Bhushan, the petitioners argued that the audio tapes, if authenticated, show not just the Chief Minister's negligence but also his active complicity. He admitted to fueling this insurgency, to allowing arms to be looted, and to protecting those involved, Bhushan argued before the court. But Solicitor General Tushar Mehta, pushing for the petition to be dismissed or at least transferred to Manipur High Court, suggests that the Supreme Court was intervening from an ivory tower without a clear understanding of conditions on the ground. Former CJIDU Y. Chandrachud, presiding over a three-judge bench just 2 days before his retirement, responded sharply, stating, "It is because we are not in an ivory tower that we are hearing this case. We are very much aware of our duty as a constitutional court, and we cannot brush things under the carpet." The court then ordered the petitioners to provide additional materials verifying the tapes' authenticity before the bench decides on the next step. Ever since they surfaced, the recordings have sparked fierce debate and incited further distrust among communities in Manipur. On its part, the Manipur government has categorically denied the authenticity of these recordings, describing them as a part of malicious campaign to destabilize the state and undermine the peace process. The State Directorate of Information and Public Relations issued a statement labeling the tapes as doctored and noting that social media analysis revealed a coordinated effort to disseminate the recordings, with multiple accounts amplifying them. Manipur police have also filed a case with the Cybercrime Division for Biren Singh, who has held on to his office despite mounting pressure and calls for resignation. High stakes are attached to a Supreme Court probe. If the court validates the tape's authenticity, they could lend weight to accusations that Singh's government was actively complicit in the violence. His political survival would be in grave jeopardy, potentially unraveling his administration's legitimacy and leading to wider political and legal scrutiny of his role in the violence. The tapes could also prove damaging to ruling Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP), which was supported Singh throughout the crisis. A blackish could potentially reshape the party's standing in the northeast, where communal stability has often been a fragile accomplishment. However, if the tapes are found to be doctored, as the government asserts, it will validate the administration's stance that a concerted campaign of misinformation has been directed at destabilizing Manipur and undermining Singh's reputations in what are already fraught times. Yet beyond the political ramifications, the Supreme Court decision to examine the recording underscores its role as a guardian of constitutional rights, willing to step in when state mechanisms are alleged to be compromised. The court's ruling on the authenticity of these tapes will likely set a precedent in matters of alleged state complicity in communal violence, signaling whether India's judiciary could hold powerful officials accountable amid a climate of political and social unrest. For Manipur, the ruling could either mark the beginning of a new era of accountability or validate claims of victimization, depending on where the truth lies. In either case, the court's decision will resonate far beyond Manipur's borders, as communities and leaders across India watch to see if justice will find a voice amid the noise of misinformation and unrest. Ziribam MLA Ashab Uddin has voiced his frustration over what he perceived as a lack of support from Manipur Chief Minister Biren Singh in addressing the escalating violence and instability in Ziribam. The MLA said that, despite the gravity of the situation, he has not been assigned any official's role in managing the crisis, leaving him in a challenging position to effectively represent and protect his constituency. While the Chief Minister has tasked key BJP figures, Minister L. Sushinjo, MLA T.A. Santi, and BJP General Secretary K. Sarat, with crisis-related responsibilities, Ashab Uddin, a JDU leader whose party aligns with the BJP at the national level, has been left without any formal assignment. The MLA said that he is in Ziribam on his own initiative, highlighting that his efforts have been hampered by his lack of formal authority. The Chief Minister has not given me any responsibility regarding the situation in Ziribam. I came here on my own, but without official power. My presence as an MLA has been ineffective, he said. Ashab Uddin described the rising tensions in Ziribam as tragic and conveyed deep anguish over his inability to influence administrative actions. If I am not sent by the authority, other administrative bodies will not listen to me, he said, and further added that his role as MLA feels hollow without official backing. Uddin shared his emotional distress over the recent abductions of 6 residents from Ziribam and expressed his deep concern for their safety and calling for their rescue release. The KBC Center Church Mulnoy Area Number 16 held a blessing prayer and feast for leaders of civil society organizations CSOs under Tinopol District on November 16, 2024. The event, attended by CSO leaders and VV Core Committee members, was a resounding success. Pastor Seikugin Halkip expressed his joy at the program's success and the unity displayed by the attendees. He also thanked the program committee for their hard work. The program featured a blessing prayer for CSO leaders, which was followed by a feast and a keynote address by Pastor Seikugin Halkip, source piece by Kai Manguite, President, Kuki Impiting Nopol, followed by gospel song presentation by Chatan. Kai Manguite expressed gratitude for the successful program and hope for continued unity among the community in the future. This event demonstrates the importance of community and leadership unity, fostering a positive environment for growth and development. Hundreds of people gathered for a candlelight visit in Aizawl on Friday evening to mourn the deaths of 11 members of Mar Mizo community in Manipur, Ziribam district. The demonstration, which took place in front of Vanapa Hall, was organized by Mizo Defense League to express grief and outrage over the violence that claimed the lives of several individuals. The protesters were particularly vocal about the death of a Mar tribal woman, a mother of three, who was murdered on November 7th in Ziron village located near Ziribam town. The demonstrators also condemned the deaths of 10 more Mar Mizo community members who were allegedly killed by security forces on November 11 at Zakurador, also in Ziribam. During the vigil, participants chanted slogans holding both the Manipur state government and the central government responsible for the ongoing ethnic violence between the Meitei and Kutyizo communities. The protesters expressed their frustration with the authorities' failure to bring an end to the violence, which has devastated the lives of many innocent people. The demonstrators also demanded that the bodies of 10 deceased individuals currently being held at the mortuary of Silchar Medical College and Hospital in Assam be returned to their families for proper burial rites. Tangkul Sanaulong, true to their role as Pukrela, the peacemaker, organized Save the Peace, a public march against Armed Forces Special Powers Act of SPA 1958, border fencing and scrapping of Free Movement Regime FMR at Ukrul headquarters in collaboration with Tangkul Katamnao Saklong on Friday. The rally started at 2 points, Dungray and Karason Junction, and converged at TSL Jubilee venue at Ukrul headquarters. The rallies demanded a repeal of SPA, no to border fencing, reinstatement of Free Movement Regime FMR, and settlement of Indo-Naga peace talk at the earliest. Honor the framework agreement. Honor your commitment, Prime Minister. Read the banners, and thousands of people from all walks of life marched the street of Ukrul demanding for early settlement of Indo-Naga peace talks. The rally was also attended by Negolo Krom, Secretary General of Naga People's Movement for Human Rights (NPMHR), Priscilla Thiongmai, President of Naga Women Union, Vareyo Satsang, General Secretary of United Naga Council (UNC), and representatives from all Naga Students Associations Manipur and Global Naga Forum, among others. Speaking at the rally, Nengulu Krom said, "Today's rally is centered around the theme Save the Peace, a slogan that the Naga People's Movement for Human Rights has been using for the past few years, particularly as the peace talks have grown increasingly uncertain. There is a looming threat of peace process breaking down, largely because India has been reneging on its commitments, especially regarding the framework agreement. Additionally, The interlocutors have not been acting as expected in such critical negotiations. The fresh shape the peace reflects our unwavering desire for peace and our belief that it must be given a chance to resolve the Indo-Naga issue. Under this theme, we have carried out campaigns across various parts of India, including Delhi, where we have garnered support from struggling communities nationwide. Today's rally carries the same message. For the sake of its future generation, peace is essential, not just for the Nagas, but for India as a whole. India's history of brutality and human rights violations demands a more sensitive approach to this issue. Given the present situations where even the ceasefire is at risk of collapsing, we ask all parties involved to ensure its continuation under any circumstances. However, this must be a dignified ceasefire. The Governor of India must honor his commitment, and interlocutors must acquit the responsibility expected of them. If this is not the case, it warrants a reconsideration of their roles. In the second week of September, the Nagaland government convened a meeting with civil society and various organizations. It was highlighted during the meeting that the current interlocutor is not meeting expectations. As a reason, a resolution was passed urging the government of India to appoint a full-time interlocutor with proper authority and mandate. At present, the interlocutor often has to seek approval from higher authorities before making decisions, which hinders progress. This lack of decisiveness is one of the more core issues we are raising. The NPM HR Secretary General continued. The other issue is that the government of India continues to go back on its commitments. As some of you may know, there were calls for third-party intervention during the ceasefire agreement signed in 1997. However, at India's request, being the world's largest democracy, it was agreed that such intervention would not be pursued. The Nagas, respecting India's request, refrained from insisting on it, and the idea of third-party involvement was set aside. Now, even after 27 years, the government of India does not appear as committed as it claims to be. Instead, it is downgrading the peace talks and reneging on its promises. In such a situation, third-party intervention may become necessary to ensure accountability and progress. This is the reality we are confronting today. Tingray P. Lungharwashi, president of Tangkhul Sanau Slong, in her remarks said, "We are holding this press conference to mark the 50th anniversary of Tangkhul Sanau Law." The organization was founded in 1974 by Tangkhul women as a collective response to the atrocities inflicted on us during the 1960s and 70s during the enforcement of AFSPA. During this time, many of our members suffered torture, rape, and molestations at the hands of Indian security forces. Expressing anger against reimposition of AFSPA in areas under 6 police stations, different women civil society organizations demanded resignations of the state government and restorations of pre-merger status in Manipur. Speaking to media on Friday at Nupi Sama's office, AMKIL President Lauren Bamngambi said, AFSPA, which was imposed in Manipur since 1980, was withdrawn from Greater Imphal area, covering 7 assembly segments in 2004. Blaming the state government led by N. Biran, Ngambi said, "It is very unfortunate that the draconian law has been brought back. Representatives of women organizations, namely AMKIL, NIMPAL, ECHAL, Matalema, Nupi Shamas, Bishnupur Apunba Nupi Loop, Tobal Imalup, and Nongpok Legak attended the press briefing. Ngambi said that reimposition of the Draconian Act AFSPA shows the weakness of the present state government. AFSPA will not solve the Manipur conflict, nor will it bring solution to the present crisis, says Ngambi. She said all mothers will block any effort to thwart the efforts of village volunteers in defending their villages. Arresting or maiming or killing them in the guise of OSPA is not the solution, she added. She also warned the central government not to aggravate the situations by adding fuel to a spark and bring the house down. Ngambi asked the Chief Minister and Biren Singh to step down from the post of Chief Minister of Manipur if he is not able to protect Manipur or his people. Step down from the post if you are not able to protect the people or Manipur's interests, said Ngambi. Now, we want pre-merger status. Free us. We will rule ourselves. We will fight for ourselves, said Ngambi, asking all to join the fight against the government. A tragic fire in a high-rise residential building in Ahmedabad's Bhopal locality resulted in the death of 65-year-old women and left 22 others hospitalized on Friday night. The blaze broke out around 10:40 p.m. on the 8th floor of the 21-storied Iscom Platina building, quickly spreading to 21st floor, officials reported. According to Bhopal police, the fire caused severe damage and prompted the evacuations of over 200 residents from the building. Firefighters rushed to the scene with more than a dozen fire tenders working tirelessly to contain the flames. The firefighting operations continued until 3:40 a.m. on Saturday. The injured, including several residents suffering from smoke inhalations and burns, were immediately transported to a nearby private hospital. Despite the effort of medical staff, one elderly woman, identified as Milaben Shah, succumbed to her injuries. Preliminary investigation suggests that a short circuit in the electric duct on the 8th floor may have sparked the fire, although authorities are still determining the exact cause. Fire officials confirmed that the blaze spread rapidly due to high-rise construction, which posed significant challenges for firefighting crews. The fire triggered a swift evacuation effort with residents, some of whom were trapped on upper floors, being rescued and brought to safety by firefighters and local authorities. Several residents were treated for minor injuries at the scene before being transported to a hospital for further treatment. The injured, including a mix of adults and children, were mostly suffering from smoke inhalation and burns. Local authorities and fire department officials have assured residents that they are investigating the incident thoroughly to prevent similar occurrences in the future. Expired fire extinguishers and faulty alarm systems were found after the fire incident at a hospital in Jhansi, Uttar Pradesh, revealing severe safety lapses. At least 16 children are battling for their lives, while 10 newborns died after a massive fire caused by a short circuit broke out in the neonatal intensive care unit (NICU) of Maharani Lakshmibai Medical College around 10:45 p.m. on Friday. Had the fire extinguishers been functional, the 10 newborns who died in the NICU of the hospitals in Jhansi, Uttar Pradesh could potentially have been saved, said the families of the victims. Sources claim that even the fire safety alarms did not go off at the time of the fire tragedy, delaying evacuations of Maharani Lakshmibai Medical College. There were 18 beds in the infant ward, most of them comprising 6 children each, says Kripal Singh Rajput, who visited the hospital on Friday night to see his grandson undergoing treatment at the hospital. The fire erupted suddenly when he entered the premises, prompting him to rescue the stranded children. In a courageous act, he saved 25 newborns. The visuals from the scene show panic-stricken patients and their caretakers, with a large number of police personnel assisting in the rescue and relief efforts. Confirming the cause of the incident, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanand said. The fire broke out due to short circuit, Health Minister and State Deputy CM Brajesh Pathak reached there at night. 10 children had died there. The rest of the children are safe. A senior police official informed that 16 children who suffered injuries during the incident are being given treatment at a local hospital, and the force staff will step up to save them. All doctors are available for them, along with adequate medical facilities, said Senior Superintendent of Police SSP Jhansi Sudha Singh. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, who ordered a high-level probe into the incident and shot a report by Saturday evening, announced a compensation of Rs 5 lakh each to the families of the deceased children and Rs 50,000 each for the injured. His deputy, Brajesh Pathak, who also inspected Jhansi Medical College on Saturday morning and ordered a probe into the incident, he said action would be taken against those found guilty of negligence. A high-level inquiry will be conducted into this incident, and if any negligence is found at any level, actions will be taken against it, he said in an expose. The blast that erupted on Friday night led to a stampede-like situation in the hospital, prompting the state government to order a high-level probe into the matter. The probe panel has been asked to submit a report by Saturday evening. Union Minister for Power and Housing and Urban Affairs, Manohar Lal Khattar, jointly inaugurated the first Trilateral power flow transactions from Nepal to Bangladesh through a virtual event hosted by Nepal's Ministry of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation on Friday. Khattar, along with MD Faisal Kabir Khan, advisor of Bangladesh Ministry of Power, Energy and Mineral Resources, and Nepali Minister of Energy, Water Resources and Irrigation Deepak Khatka inaugurated the power flow transaction, which had been carried out to the Indian grid. According to press statement, the power transaction from Nepal to Bangladesh through the Indian grid will export up to 40 MW of power. The transaction was announced earlier in June 2023 during the visit of former Prime Minister of Nepal, Pushpa Kamal Dahal, to India from May 31 to June 3. During the visit, both sides had expressed their commitment towards greater sub-regional cooperations, including in the energy sector, which would lead to increased interlinkages between the economies for the mutual benefit of all stakeholders. Following the inaugurations, Union Minister Khattar said that the move would benefit all the three countries in the region. The power department of the three countries have entered into an agreement with each other, regional cooperations for power purchase, sale and distributions and transmission, in which Nepal has signed an agreement with Bangladesh for 40 MW hydropower. The Nepal government has used India's transmission grid to send its electricity to Bangladesh. I think this will benefit all three countries, Khattar said. The Israeli strikes on Iranian military facilities last month destroyed an active nuclear weapons research facility in the Perchi military complex outside of Tehran, NGOs reports, citing 3 U.S. officials and Israeli officials and a former Israeli official. According to report, the strike significantly damaged Iran's effort to resume nuclear weapon research. Speaking to NGOs, on the conditions of anonymity, a U.S. official says that the Iranian government was using the facility for scientific activity that could lay the ground for the production of a nuclear weapon. The research was said to have been carried out in a way that would allow it to be passed off as research for civilian purposes. The research facility, once used to test explosives needed for setting off a nuclear device, was believed to be inactive following the official shutdown of Iran's nuclear program in 2003, But US and Israeli intelligence began to detect activity at the site earlier this year, as US reported. The report cites a US official as saying that there was concern across the board regarding the Persian facility. In an hours-long operation on October 26, dozens of Israeli aircraft targeted strategic military sites across Iran, specifically drone and ballistic missile manufacturing and launch sites, as well as air defense batteries, with explosions reported in the areas of Tehran, Karas, Isfahan, and Siraj. Iran has pledged to retaliate, while Israel has threatened major consequences against Tehran if it does. Chinese President Xi Jinping is under mounting pressure to better secure his country's interests in volatile regions like Pakistan following a bomb attack by Pakistani separatists last month that killed 2 Chinese engineers, the Financial Times has reported. Reflecting the challenges faced by Chinese workers in Pakistan, one businessman in the country's Punjab province told the Financial Times, "We don't trust that more Pakistani soldiers will keep us safe. Instead," he said, "we would prefer it was Chinese," stating that there's not as much opportunity in Pakistan and the security is bad, the Chinese businessman reportedly added. Many Chinese want to leave. Many Chinese companies facing security gaps in Pakistan have reportedly turned to Chinese security engineers to develop plans, handle incidents, conduct background checks for local personnel, gather intelligence, and manage armed local guards, underscoring the inadequacy of local security arrangements. These concerns have come to the fore amid the rising threat to Chinese investment in Pakistan, particularly the $62 billion China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC, which is a critical part of Xi's Belt and Road Initiative (BRI). Recent attacks by the Balochistan Liberation Army (BLA) have highlighted the risks, reportedly sparking debate over Beijing's inability to address these persistent security issues. Despite significant allocations by Pakistan to safeguard Chinese investment, including over 15,000 personnel deployed across 2 special security divisions and additional provincial police units, the measures have failed to meet China's expectation. Noting that the part of this protection is actually funded by China Defense Ministry, the report said that incidents like the recent shooting of 2 Chinese workers in Karachi by a Pakistani security guard have underscored the limitations of local forces in ensuring safety. Beijing's dissatisfaction with this arrangement has prompted internal directives for Chinese personnel to oversee security matters. Speaking to Financial Times, Zhou Chao, a former security manager for the Lahore Metro Orange Line project, explained that Chinese companies often station Chinese officers at project sites while hiring hundreds of local guards to compensate for Pakistan's ban on armed foreign contractors. According to Zhou, China's central government has issued an internal directive to let Chinese take care of the security of Chinese. But these efforts have been hindered by strict regulations that limit the capacity of Chinese private security firms to operate effectively abroad. Hamas is ready for a ceasefire in Gaza, said a leader of Palestinian militant group on Friday. The group reportedly urging U.S. President-elect Donald Trump to pressure Israel as it continues to pound the Palestinian territory. Hamas is ready to reach a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip if a ceasefire proposal is presented and on the condition that it is respected by Israel. Doha-based Hamas Political Bureau member Bassem Naim told AFP, "We call on the U.S. administrations and Trump to pressure the Israeli government to end the aggression." Naim was quoted as saying, Hamas remarks came nearly a week after Qatar, which hosts much of the Palestinian Gross Political Bureau, announced it was suspending its role as a mediator in the war, urging all parties to show seriousness. Qatar announced on Saturday that it was suspending its role as a mediator in indirect talks towards a ceasefire and hostage release deal in the Gaza war that has ground on for more than a year. Qatar would resume those efforts when the parties showed their willingness and seriousness, Doha's Foreign Ministry spokesman Majid al-Ansari said in a statement. Friday's announcement by Hamas came as Israel continued to strike Gaza. I woke up to the bombing at 2:30 a.m. and was surprised by the rubble and glass falling on me and my children, said Mohammed Baraka, one of the residents, adding that the strike resulted in 3 murders and 15 injuries. Put an end to this war, because there are innocent people who are losing defenseless. Children who have nothing to do with this, he said. The war between Hamas and Israel broke out after the Palestinian militant group launched a surprise attack in parts of Israel on October 7, 2023. As many as 1,206 people, mostly civilians, were killed in the attack, according to an AFP tally of Israeli official figures. Israel retaliated, attacking Hamas leaders in Gaza. Israel's campaign has killed 43,764 people in Gaza, most of them civilians, according to figures from the Hamas-run territory's health ministry that the United Nations considered reliable. Militants also kidnapped 251 hostages during the October 7 attack, 97 of whom are still held in Gaza, including 34 whom the Israeli military says are dead. That's all from us tonight, and we thank you for joining our program.